brings you the America's Next Top Model podcast.
Alright, hello and welcome to this totally awkward and very first introduction of GAMbIT Magazine's first America's Next Top Model Cycle 21 podcast review recap. We'll work on the title at some point later in the future. I'm GAMbIT contributing editor Margaret Poupard, and I'm here with who I review top model, Samir Roy.
Hello there.
Contributing movie editor. So, we're going to be talking about, well, the first couple episodes leading up to the most recent episode that aired, The Girl Who Got 5 Frames. Sorry, it's like tripping me out to hear myself talk. Anyway, where do you want to start?
Where should we start with The Girl Who Got 5 Frames? Should we sort of explain?
Well, actually, we should go back to like our background a little bit. And so, this is GAMbIT's first cycle covering America's Next Top Model, and we're doing the reviews. Right now, they're going up every Tuesday morning, but after October 3rd, they'll be going up Monday morning because Top Model is switching to Friday nights. But that won't stop us from recapping in the podcast form and recapping on the website. So, Samir and I have been avid watchers of America's Next Top Model.
Since the very beginning.
Since Cycle 1, since Adrian won and then later married Peter Brady.
Yes, back in the days when it was literally just a hotel room and some velvet curtains hung on the walls and a picnic table with some nobodies, plus Janice Dickinson, who has sadly departed Top Model forever. But we've learned to live with it, and we've gone through 21 cycles of Tyra's insanity.
Yes, and I'm just really happy that Brian Boy isn't with us anymore.
Oh my God,
he was the worst. Just the worst judge of all time. And
he wasn't even a judge. He was literally just the guy who read Facebook comments on an iPad, standing next to the panel.
Sometimes he'd show up to shoots and like get in the models' heads and tell them that like he was their favorite or like they weren't his favorite.
Your social media score is very disappointing. Like, that's all he ever said.
His accent was so jarring.
And he was so high fashion.
He was not high fashion. No. See, I mean, there's a difference. Because Miss J is back, and, I mean, talk about OG judges. I mean, when did she show up? Like, second cycle?
No, Miss J has been there since the very beginning. She was always Miss J, the runway diva, taught everyone how to walk. And then after a few years, she made him a judge. And then she fired everyone.
Right, no. I mean, I know all of that. He just wasn't an official judge for a couple of cycles. That's what always trips me up. He's just always been there, which is what I've always remembered. So I'm really glad that he's back, because he's much needed comic relief to an otherwise pretty sterile panel, because I can't say that I miss Rob Thomas. No, wait. Not Rob Thomas. What was that guy's name?
Rob Evans?
Was that the model's name?
I don't remember. All I know is that he apparently was in a couple, like, domestic violence incidences that I decided not to care about him anymore.
Yeah, I heard about that too, and then he was promptly fired from Top Model and then never heard from him again. So, welcome back, Miss J. Happy to have you in Cycle 21. Booch Tooch!
Booch Tooch edition. This year's Booch Tooch. She's gone through so many catchphrases.
Well, she's been around for 21 cycles. She's been there since before the CW was the CW and was called
since
UPN.
Heroin Chic.
Since UPN. I mean, she was around during Moesha times. Moesha didn't last 21 seasons.
She played a Barbie doll in a movie.
With Lindsay Lohan. When she was likable.
When her talent had somehow just left her.
And her eyes didn't look so dead and soulless inside. But that's a topic for a different time, because I had to watch that horrible Lindsay docuseries. And it's not a docuseries. It was just awful.
It's as much a docuseries as ANTM is about the modeling industry.
I mean, the only thing I learned about her is that her legs look exactly like a pair of very white leggings.
Yeah, there's not much more to say about her at this time. But
Tyra, other than best of luck in that David Mamet play that's not going to go well.
Ugh.
Anywho. Tyra. We've been watching Tyra through jumpsuit changes, weave, and various wig. I don't know what she was trying.
And weird dye jobs.
And her ever-changing and expanding vocab that I mean, she has nothing on anyone. She just makes up words on the fly, and she's so committed to them. And she's so committed to making them work. She just keeps yelling them in people's faces until...
Remember tension.
Or chignon.
Chignon, that was season 1. It was all about the chignon. They're slicking it back now. You should have come in with a chignon so tight that it looked like you got a facelift.
I mean, I gotta say, Smize has lasted pretty long. That's been around for a little while. And I love how in all of her Tyra-themed houses, now in the most recent one, since she's trying to incorporate social media, and that's supposed to be part of her shtick, because... she's like that cougar-y aunt that keeps trying to tell you.
Because she's so with the times, you know? She's so on top of it, like those old ladies in those insurance commercials.
She just reminds me of, like, your cougar-y aunt that's trying to tell you about Tinder, but she doesn't really know how to, like, answer people, and, like, she keeps swiping right and getting strange messages, and she doesn't know why.
Look, I learned how to make jiffies.
So, yeah, so since she's so obsessed with social media... all of the, like, her hashtag vocabs, I don't know, buzzwords, her equivalent of synergy are, like, painted on the wall or stenciled all over the place, so you always notice Smize and...
Well, that was how the first challenge began. It was an EDM instead of EDC themed
Again,
runway.
I'm not sure Tyra knows exactly what, like, words like social media and EDM and selfie means. I think she just, like, likes to use them and, like, throw them around a lot and just kind of, like, looks for people's reactions and then does something based upon that.
That's why they had to create their own hashtags and take their own pictures that first episode so they could see just how good a model they were. And surprisingly, Romeo looked amazing in his little, like, Instagram selfie that he took. And once we learned he was a Wiccan who was trying to spread the word of Wicca with his library of books that he brought with him, I was hoping that he would last a really long time just for the sheer entertainment value.
Well, once
of
he
this guy
asked...
with neck tattoos, you know, like, painting pentagrams on the patio and asking for materials to make voodoo dolls.
Yes, that was pretty much my favorite part. I mean, I just like that he would curse people in his weird one-on-one interviews, and then they would get eliminated. He was like, Ivy's my biggest competition. Boom, Ivy's gone. Immediately.
I really hate this Danny boy. He really needs to go away.
He just sat next to Ivy in the green room and was just like, you're my biggest competition. I tell everyone. I can't wait till you leave. And then, what do you know? Ivy's in the bottom too. And
eliminated right away.
Just gone. Her poor little timid pixie face just...
But then his birthday magic completely backfired because he was trying to goad frat boy Adam. Stupid frat boy Adam. I cannot imagine what anybody is seeing in this dude model-wise. I'm sure perhaps, despite his personality outside the show, he's perfectly nice and actually intelligent, but they're not going to feature any of that on this show, so all we see is...
Haven't you ever seen a Bachelor after the Rose ceremony or any Real World where they're like, no, it's edited to make you look like an asshole? It's like, no.
Well, you gave them plenty of material, I'm sure. Like, I don't think they made their job very hard.
I'm sure the very consistent open bar also does not help either. But my favorite criticism that Romeo gave Adam was that he looks like a personal trainer. I don't know why. I just love that to Romeo, that was like the highest insult you could tell someone who's trying to be a model. You look like a personal trainer, brah. Like, that's supposed to, like really
you look
sing
like somebody who works for a living.
Exactly. Because everybody can tell that he hasn't really worked for a living. Because when you tell openly to everyone immediately that you're in the top 2% of partiers in the world, which, by the way, is not a thing. I don't know where you apply for that job on LinkedIn.
How do you quantify this research that he's done worldwide?
I have no idea. I don't know how you get in there. I don't know if you can just start, just like Tyra, just start saying it enough until people are like, whatever, I'm not going to question this anymore, because you crazy. But... yeah, he doesn't look like he worked a day in his life, but he gave up grad school, brah. He, like, takes modeling hella serious, and, like, he buzzed his hair for this, so, like, he's gonna give it his all. And I gotta say, out of the dudes in the most recent challenge where they had that horrible weave that made them look like they were... they all look like they were auditioning for Steel Panther, all the guys. And, I mean, even though Denzel could whip it around, I suppose, like, he's used to having hair, he still looked, I mean, Kelly kind of called it, like, he was auditioning for, like, a Detroit, like, cover band or something. He just looked really silly, and, I mean, that's not really his fault. Tyra designs these challenges for them to fail and look ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway.
He kind of made his work, but I thought that Ben was kind of set up to fail. When you actually looked at his hair, it literally looked like old Barbie hair. Like it had that kind of like, you know,
the Hulk has that hair every day of his life. He works it.
It was like this thick, like, you know, dry, like bird's nest kind of like consistency of the hair. So when you try to flip it, it just like one big like straw patch just sort of flies over his head, and there's no flow to it at all. So how could he possibly have done anything good with it? And like it didn't look or move like real hair in any way like all the other guys had, despite how awful their hair was.
Well, despite Adam looking way too much like Chris Angel, I mean, he tried and he worked really hard with that hairpiece. It's not even a hairpiece. I don't even know how they put them on their head. Like
glue.
They looked ridiculous. Oh, like Denzel's beard weave. His fucking.
Oh my god, he looked like
his
Black
Millhouse Halloween.
Like in his commercial or whatever. I don't know how they call this an avant-garde hair, whatever it was. I'm like, how is this avant-garde? Being stupid and ugly does not make it avant-garde.
And what hair place is trying to do this? Like, what are they selling though? Shampoo for your terrible hair? Do you have bad hair? This shampoo will accentuate the badness of it. Look at how these people can't flip.
Do you want hair that looks really fake, that even cancer patients would turn away? Then we've got the product for you. And these models, who really don't know what the hell they're doing under Tyra's direction, are going to try to demonstrate just how much you need this in your life. But Lennox only has 5 frames to do it in, so, you know.
Again, I maintain that she has the most fabulous, like, hair of everyone. She has, like, Duchess Kate level fabulous hair. I knew she was gonna fucking nail it in 5 shots if she could just not cry and think/talk about her mom and how she needs money and blah, 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 blah.
Well, they built up like that 5 frames. It
was the fucking title of the show, and for once, the title actually corresponded what was happening in the show, because lately, the titles of the episodes make absolutely no sense with what's going on, but that's a topic for maybe 5 minutes from now, But
yeah, she somehow, like, made it work. But, like, you know, what should have clued us in that despite all her talk about her missing her mom and having all these problems and she really needs this, that's usually the clue that that person's going home that episode. And they fooled us this time. And I think we were so focused on that pattern that we didn't notice that, like, hey, she actually did something that a previous winner of Top Model did when she decided to just walk off set in tears. I remember I think it was Cycle 9, Celicia, the controversial winner who had gone to, like, Tyra's modeling camp or whatever beforehand.
Tyra had a modeling camp?
Something like that. Is
it as real as her Harvard business degree?
She's got a lot of scams going, and this girl apparently paid good money to be a part of one, and then mysteriously turned up on Top Model, and then mysteriously won despite everyone else being better than her. Huh. But that would also explain
why Whitney won a cycle.
She used a tip that she got from Tyra's modeling camp, which was if you're having a hard time, just ask to excuse yourself, go collect yourself off camera, and then come back and just rock it. And Lennox is like, no, I'm just gonna go compose myself and not waste these last 2 frames with, like, these tear-filled, you know, mockeries of avant-garde hair advertising. And she went off set, let everybody console her, and then suddenly Yusai turned into a human being for once, and I was completely taken aback.
Yeah, because up until now, the only thing Yusai has done has been
to scream at people and tell them they're not good enough?
Basically try and use some sort of, I don't know, whatever nationality is, they clearly have some sort of torture system in place where you just break a person down until they can't think for themselves anymore, and then you have a perfect model. Because all he does is just yell at them and tell them how terrible they are and how they look like shit, and never, ever, ever tells them how to fix it. Not a one episode. He doesn't tell them, like, oh, open your eyes more, or, like, relax your neck. Well, actually, he'll yell, relax your neck, but he'll only yell it once, and then after that, he'll be like, what did I say about your neck? And it's like, well, the first time you yelled it, I was scared, because when you yell, you're upset, and, like, it's hard. And so maybe, like, take them aside, or, like, stop having, like, the weird vampire photographer taking their picture, or whatever. So, yeah, him turning into a human being was probably the most shocking moment of this entire episode. And there was a fucking acoustic guitar song for Tyra, sung at panel, and the most shocking thing was Yusai comforting a young lady.
I cannot believe that song. I couldn't believe when he first started working on it.
Wait. We actually have to give some sort of setup. We can't just say this song. Like, Ben, who was last week's winner and was in the Tyra suite, at the very beginning of this episode, which was like probably the editor's clue, and I think you're probably right. I mean, they're definitely having a good time with us. Yeah. All of the Romeo footage, of him. Like, everyone, it's everyone partying in the kitchen, getting drunk, like, screaming, having a good time, getting to know each other, and it's just, like, a quick pan over, and it's Romeo laying on the couch with, like, a hood up, reading, like,
his introductory, like, Wiccan witchcraft manual.
The introductory to the dark arts for dummies, or some bullshit like that, and then it's, like, him out on the patio lighting candles, and, like...
Yes, the gazebo pentagram.
I feel like the editors are in on the joke. There have been a couple moments where I'm just like, they have to know, like, at this point, or you're just so bored of looking at this fucking footage that you're like, screw this guy. He yelled at me once, and I'm gonna ruin his life. Yeah.
I'm gonna get every awkward angle on him I possibly can. I will use every single soundbite that makes him sound like an asshole. But again, when you put people in this situation, there's really almost no way for them not to become an asshole. I mean, if you really
think about it, it's like, you have, like, that's one of the things that also stood out in one of the past episodes. It was the vampire spider bite commercial, but Mariana was talking about how they can all, like, text each other and take videos with some app they're trying to plug.
You can have a whole conversation with just stickers.
Thanks, girl. I know. I send emojis as a response literally every single day of my life.
But, like, she's speaking in just stickers?
But, so, my main point is that they don't really get to talk to anybody else. Like, their phone time's super limited. There's no TV. They don't have any sort of way to, like, get news. They don't get
magazines.
Yeah, they don't have, like, a laptop or something. I mean,
I don't even know if they even know what magazines or newspapers are at this point.
No.
They just want their cell phones back.
Yeah, they don't have any sort of way to communicate with the outside world. Like, they don't really... I don't think that they have, like, Wi-Fi.
We took your SIM card. Enjoy your iPhone 6.
iPhones don't have SIM cards. It just be like, we disabled your cloud. Or it's like, it's on airplane mode for the next 6 weeks, bitches.
You can't do shit. But you can possibly play Clash of Clans.
Don't plug that game. Don't plug Greg's game here. He doesn't need our help.
Or what's the other one that everyone likes? Not Candy Crush. Candy Crush is over.
We're getting so off topic. We need to get back. We need to circle we swung way wide to the left. And it
was all because of that song. That song, it just, like, the idea that it would work.
Hold thought. So to recap, top models or wannabe top models will probably end up killing each other, especially guys and girls, when they have no communication to the outside world and can communicate with each other way too much. That was my original point. Now back to Ben and the most recent episode. He and Adam thought it was a really amazing idea. Well, let's back it up one more past that. So Ben is coming off of a winning streak, let's say. Because in the last episode, he won the challenge, he won the photo shoot, he was in Tyra's suite, he was giving, like, Western grip hand jobs to Adam in Tyra's suite, just, like, fucking broing it up, just lathering in their win. And he gets the wind knocked out of his sails by Will, thank God, who is just, like, my absolute favorite, who I hope wins the whole thing. And even if he doesn't, actually, it's probably better if he doesn't, because then he can actually have a chance at a real modeling career and, like, a possible, like, choreographer career. But that's a topic for, let's put a pin in it for 20 minutes from now. But... So Adam's coming down from that win, and if you remember at the beginning of the most recent episode, Will invites Raylia to be in the Tyra suite with him. Unfortunately, sadly, not Matt, but...
I know!
So they're sitting, like, so Will and Raylia are enjoying themselves, they're enjoying all the amenities of Tyra suite.
And then Mopey Ben walks in,
and he's just like
lays around.
Like fucking Eeyore, like, have you guys seen my tail? Like, I can't believe this used to be me. And
like, dude, it was like a day ago. Why are you acting like it's been a year since you've experienced joy?
Well, so that he could also segue into letting us know, Samir, that he's a quadruple threat. So it doesn't matter what Will's got in the dance moves department.
Model, singer, actor.
Dancer. So he decides to bust out or accentuate, whatever you want to choose, his singer side, let's say. So he gets a little John Mayer with it, and then decides it needs a rap chorus or a rap verse. And who better than to not ask Denzel or Keith, who probably have listened to more rap in their life, not trying to be a stereotype. But Adam, like, you were better off going to Will or Matt. Like, I feel like they have more street cred than Adam. Like, what the fuck is he gonna rhyme about? Doing keg stands?
It was really sad. I mean, more sad than I thought it could have been.
Well, actually, the end result wasn't as sad as watching the making of for some strange reason. Like, watching them agonize on the kitchen table about, like, listening to them be like, so you come in with this dope rhyme, like, right here, and, like, I'll, like, bust out the acoustic riffs, and, like, I'll go all Billy Corgan on it, and, like, you just rap it out for Tyra. And you just hear their thought process, and you're like, you're saying it out loud. Are you listening to the words that you're saying? Because if you did, like, listen just to any part of, I'm gonna sing this at panel and you're gonna do a rap verse Adam.
Well, like, plus Ben's part was, like, this very sort of, like, emo,
sensitive,
like, sad.
He's the guy at the party that when it winds down is like, whose acoustic guitar is this? Do you mind if can I get it? Okay. I wanna be on top. Oh, I just wrote this, like, I just, like, made it up, like, right now, like, tries to play it off, like, they didn't think about it all
like, it sounds like a song written by somebody who's never going to get there. Like, that was, like, the irony of this song. I'm like, so you're basically, like, advertising yourself as the loser of the competition, and you decide to make a big, like, yeah, you had to do it. You had to, like, go show Tyra that you want to do things besides modeling, which she normally doesn't like. But has liked a little bit more since, you know, she had to find new ways to pay the bills. But yeah, it was a tragic moment for Ben. It just had doom written all over it.
From the get-go. I mean, I wonder if anybody in the house knew, and if they did know, would they stop him?
Like, did anybody else... Why is there no footage of other people hearing them rehearse this? Like, outside the room, you could just, like, practically see, like, a bunch of people, like, trying really hard to stifle the church giggles. Like, while they're listening to, like, Ben's sad part, and then Adam trying to rap. I mean, because that wasn't just, like, a dry run in front of Tyra. They rehearsed that shit somewhere.
They practiced it. And I think he talked about them practicing it in one of those, like, floaty head interviews. Just, like, working real hard on that top model song. Like, you shouldn't. Please stop.
Like, oh my god, it was just so awful when they started singing it.
It was
other people started, like, waving their arms and, like, joining it. I was like, no, this is not good. Like, why are you... I mean, are you that deprived of social interaction with the real world that this is happiness to you now? It
had all the doom of a Dave Matthews Band concert. It was just... And they sat on the runway, which just made it weirdly informal. Like, dog, stand up! They're gonna fucking give you your score. Like, no one wants to hear a stupid song right now. It's not the time.
I mean, there's never a time for that song, really. But I guess in a weird way, because of the schadenfreude of that moment, like, it was great entertainment. I mean, it's how the show itself works. It's, like, simultaneously underwhelming, and it underwhelms so bizarrely and so much that it becomes surreal and entertaining. So, like, Tyra's ideas are such miserable failures that they're hilarious. Like, they're so much worse than you thought they could be.
That's true. I mean, that silly stream runway from last episode made...
And they built that shit up like it was like, oh, we're gonna do something that's never been seen before. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a reason.
They called it a living art installation.
It was a bunch of drunk kids with silly string in a warehouse party space. That's what your brilliant living art installation, never before seen fashion runway moment was, Tyra Banks. Like, where were you and what were you on when this sounded like a life-changing idea to you? Because it was really pretty sad. I think you even said it in one of our reviews, but, like, even Tyra's recycling her old ideas. Like, she can't even keep track of anything anymore. Like, the Spider Bite commercial from last episode was, like, a total rehash of something else. I can't remember what else there was that we just kept... The stilts they'd done before. Oh, the stilts. Oh, yeah, the stilts. They've done that a couple times, actually. They did that in the All-Star one, didn't they? Did they? I can't remember if it was All-Stars or, like, the Brits, or... I can't remember which cycle that was. They did it to somebody. They did it to somebody in a recent cycle, like, the last 5 years, the stilts made another appearance. It's still a step up from being in a Rolitos commercial, like from Cycle, was it 1 or 2? They're flying through the air like super heroines fighting for their Rolitos. It was just like, well, at least they're not doing that.
I guess?
I mean, I guess it's a step up.
It kind of makes me miss The Face in a certain way because The Face has legitimate campaigns and their ads have some sort of coherent narrative to them. And Top Model, what I love about Top Model the most is that there is no real coherent narrative and it is completely nonsensical and it's all Tyra's whim and it's Tyra's world and we're just paying a visit for an hour every week. And whatever sort of torture she wants to put upon these people that think that she's going to advance her career in some sort of way. It's
just pure joy every week. Like, I am giddy every Monday, and now I guess every Friday.
I think this week it's still on Friday, and then October...
No, on Monday, and then on October 3rd is when it goes to Friday.
There we go. You're right. What he said. But I will say, the one thing that I don't like about the incorporation of guys and girls is the love square, I guess. The two couples that have formed.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually kind of miss Starvin' Marvin from last cycle, because at least it was just one desperate sad guy trying to just get any from anyone. Son. Oh, the janitor's son sweeping up ass!
Again, people on this show are always horrified by the notion of work. Like, it's the saddest thing in the world to them that people work. I'm like...
Oh, no, and my favorite were his tearful admissions of, like, seeing a cockroach or two in his life, or, like, rats. I'm like, it's okay, dude. You'll live.
Millions of people do it, and they probably live worse than you.
But anyway, it makes me long for Starvin' Marvin. And
yeah, this whole Mariana bullshit is, like, it's hysterical. But
it's hysterical, but it's just... I'm glad they don't give it too much attention and that it's not kind of becoming some sort of bachelor model pad or something hybrid. But yeah, it's starting to get on my damn nerves.
First she was cuddling with Matthew, and then her boyfriend back home promoted... I'm guessing he sent like one tweet that said, "My girl Mariana is on Top Model. Vote for her, you guys." Like, that's probably it. And she's like, "Oh my god, you're supporting me. I'm so amazed. I'm just so happy right now." I was like, wait a minute, what? Weren't you just talking about how you wanted to leave him?
Oh, no, but my favorite thing is, she doesn't even hear it from him. She's talking to her friend on the phone. And I'm pretty sure her friend says, "I think he tweeted something about you."
And that became like, "Oh, he's the best boyfriend in the world," like, instantly. And then she's like, "Matthew, you're so weird. Why are you, like, hanging after me?"
Before the commercial break, though, she was like, "Oh, yeah, things are going really poorly." And I don't even think she said poorly. I just think that she's like, "We've been in a bad relationship for, like, a long time. We just haven't broken up yet." And then cut to, "I think he had promoted you on social media. We're in love!"
And then she went on to Denzel.
Yeah, with his beard weave.
Like, that, oh god, that horrible, like, costume shop beard that they pasted on his face. Like, she's stuck with him through that, though.
Yeah, she's still into it.
Now she's like, "Oh, we're dating." I'm like, what
she admitted it at a panel, which was very weird and off-putting, and I hated Kelly trying to, like, pair everybody up, because she's all sad and not getting any, so she's gonna try and play Cupid with a bunch of fucking horny 20-somethings. That was kind of annoying, but, like, yeah, when Tyra's like, "Oh, is something going on between Denzel and Mariana?" She's like, "We're dating." And I was just like, girl, shut up. Like, this is not about you dating. She even said this isn't about finding America's Next Top Lover, and look at what she gone and did.
Yeah, and then her response to that, again, being reminded that, "Oh yeah, I kind of still have a boyfriend." She's like, "I guess I'll just write him a letter."
Yeah, and I like how she kept talking herself out of shit in her interview, too. She was like, "Yeah, like, I'm gonna call him, and I'm, like, gonna tell him, and we're gonna be honest, but, like, I feel like the time's passed, and, like, maybe I'll just write him a letter eventually." Like, I'll write him eventually, ...
How long do you think the production of this show lasts, girl? It's gonna be, like, 12 weeks. Like,
exactly, and, like, her fantasy, and so, like, the fantasy world that she lives in, like, Denzel and I are just gonna go home to, like, our Tyra mansion, and we're just gonna model and everything's perfect. Her living in this fantasy reality annoys me so much that I just really want her to get voted off next week. I just want to see her bubble burst. There's nothing more delightful to me than to see a 19-year-old's dreams and hopes fucking shattered in front of their eyes. Preferably on TV and by Tyra Banks.
That's why Tyra keeps doing this show. I think she, lives off of that.
Wow, I kind of get it. Tyra, I finally get it.
I think she actually instructs production assistants to keep the wadded up Kleenex that they mop their tears off their faces with so she can huff them like ether, and it gives her the jolt to keep going, and she just can't live without that rush. So she has to keep torturing these people over and over and over again, year after year. So they all have to relive their worst memories and their most recent painful experiences in front of her. Not just in private, but it has to happen in front of her, otherwise it didn't really happen. She can't discover it by watching the footage later. She needs to
It's not as good.
Front.
It's not as good when it's live. Playback is not as good as when it's live. It's just not.
And she got tears out of Lennox already.
Oh my god, a lot of tears. She just fucking.
She even said, I just wish I hadn't cried so much. I'm like, well, I mean, you are near Tyra.
She just kind of inspires that in people. I don't know if it's fear or her motherly put downs. But her whole, I would have given you a 0, but I can't. Girl, you make the rules on this show. You could give her a 0 if you really wanted to. You just wanted it to sting worse by saying that. It's just like when your parents are like, oh, you got detention? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. That's what it is. That's all it is. She just wants you to, think about it. Because apparently Lennox didn't think about it enough. She just gave up.
She didn't listen to Tyra.
She didn't like seeing that give up. She wanted her to go home and practice in the mirror and try her sexy face and stop being a quitter.
Well, I mean, this is the woman who screamed at a girl for not crying when she was eliminated in a shocking double elimination. That's what prompted, the great Tyra reign of all time.
I know, I'm
was that someone didn't
laughing.
cry. So, I mean, Lennox, I guess, is in because she cries.
She's totally gonna win.
She's gonna be there for a while, but these artsy ones, they never seem to last. They don't usually win.
Too quirky. Not commercial enough. But, I mean, she's got a fan in Kelly?
I guess, but I mean, is that worth anything? I mean, have you heard anything from Kelly Catrone's PR company? They didn't have a second season of Hell on Earth. I think there's probably a reason for that. They probably had so little business.
So much debt.
Yeah, all the emails are hate mail instead of, requests for her services. So she's got the top model thing going, and
She's got that CW Seed show, which just makes me feel uncomfortable saying out loud.
Seed?
Ugh. Stop saying it. Anyway, she's got that. I mean, it's on the internet, but it's there.
It's there. She does something else with her time.
All I'm saying is I miss the 4-judge format, and I miss the former famous model. Or whatever, retired model.
Yeah, they really do need to have one of those on there again. I don't know
because,
why.
Can we just prevent ever having Nicki Minaj-esque feedback I would not stop on this page in a magazine. I would stop on this page in a magazine. We just need a real person besides Tyra, because she doesn't really actually... Everything is through the Tyra lens, which is fine, 'cause it's her fucking show. She can do whatever she wants. I will listen to her talk about Paris. I have listened to her talk about Paris at 15, being hungry, and going to shows, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'll listen to that story every fucking time, but I just want another model, like Twiggy, who...
She was too nice.
But I like anyone, though. Really just Janice. But, someone else that's also a model that can talk about model experience and maybe not make it all about them. And just let Tyra do that part.
Maybe in future episodes this cycle, we will get one of those somewhere along the way. I don't know for sure if that's going to happen, but every now and then some model's willing to risk their respect in the industry to be on Tyra's show. All the photographers have fled, You know
what I noticed? That blonde girl that did the trampoline shoot and, the head taxidermy shoot. She's, popped up a bunch of times, and I'm just kind of waiting for her to pop up again. Because I think they just have, a roster of, 5 to 8 photographers that'll still work for them because they just like to work and like money. And so I just guarantee she'll show up. Sarah Silver, I think?
That's
like super meta way inside weird thing. But I just would reckon, because the vampire photographers come back, but I don't know, now that we have
He probably doesn't get that much work, though.
I was gonna say, he seems like he's Usai's buddy. But, like, remember, like, the Australian guy, the photographer who did the bat shoot last cycle, who just seemed to be, Woojack's friend, Johnny Woojack's friend. The Australian guy that was, like, really, really yoked. Or maybe he was from New Zealand. I can't remember, but his pictures weren't that great, and, like, he just kept showing up at a certain point. It just felt like they gave up trying to look for photographers.
Well, you know, like I said, that's why the same ones always pop up. They're not that good. They probably need the work. They could use the paycheck. So you can always, that's why, like, you know, you'll never see Steven Meisel doing a photography shoot for Top Model. That's just not going to happen. So naturally, without the big surprise of the editing, Lennox went from a 1 to a 10. From Tyra.
But that's like Top Model's thing. They love to do this, like, 0 to hero kind of thing in an episode arc.
This week it was Lennox. And,
the week before it was Will.
And Ben is on his way down.
So, yeah, Ben gets sent home. That's what I wanted to say. So what I really loved the most is that the final 3, all of the women were safe, all of the women could work their hair, and the final 3, except for Kari, who honestly just got the most unfortunate makeover out of everybody, like, poor girl. I mean, I know that Tyra is obsessed with this alien look, but it only works for, like, a few people, and bleaching eyebrows, like, it just doesn't, it
hasn't worked for any model that she's done it to yet.
I just feel like she blames the model themselves, so she's gonna keep bleaching eyebrows on girls with big foreheads till someone gets it right, because it's their fault. Like, I feel like that's how Tyra probably feels. But girl is just, she looks burned. She looks like a burn victim.
She's an albino golem.
She just fucking looks awful, and, like, I think she's still struggling with how she looks. And so it came down, and so, like, she had a really hard time with, like, the weave shoot, too, because she's on top of dealing with this really shitty makeover where she looks like a total fucking not model is not the first thing that you think of when you look at her.
Kind of like what Voldemort looked like when he was, like, in that weird baby form at the end of the Harry Potter
movies. I was
movies.
actually gonna say she looks like the baby from Alien. Or, what's some other terrible stuff that she might look like?
I don't know, but it was really sad because she was, like, so beautiful.
She was
before
so
that
pretty.
makeover.
She had, like, great curly hair, and, like, she kind of just looked like, I don't know, a more exotic looking Cindy Crawford or something.
I liked her the way she was before.
She was so pretty. Like, why would you try and make someone look like Donatella Versace? Why? Why is that a thing? Since when is that something that we aspire to?
It's not. That maybe she owes Donatella, like, really big.
She must. But Donatella doesn't need a name drop on Top Model. Regardless, she looks like... Replace Halle Berry with Donatella Versace and Extant, and the weird alien baby that Halle Berry has in that show is what Donatella Versace and that alien baby had with that's Kari, the end result.
Who, despite the horrible makeover, has lasted a lot longer. Usually Tyra gives the girl that she gives the worst makeover to is the one that gets sent home, like, right away for not working the makeover.
Or the guy, Phil, the long hair.
That was just awful, too.
He just looked like, that was dumb. I don't get that makeover.
The guy who gets a weave, that didn't work. Then they
so I'll give him a beard weave. And by beard weave, I mean glue. Come here. And he can, like, take it off, because there are times where he doesn't have the beard on, and it's really fucking jarring. Because I'm like, a weave is, like, vaguely permanent, so you can't just, like, take a weave off and on. Like, you're just...
Well, there was not enough facial hair to weave it into, but somehow she's sticking with this. So he's going to have to keep rocking it in the next episode.
I mean, he'll just keep rocking until he gets eliminated. But anyway, so Kari, yeah, she has lasted a surprising amount of time. And I'm also surprised that her romance with Keith has lasted. I know this is, I'm real mean and shallow, but I'm surprised that her relationship / showmance with Keith has lasted past her makeover, because could you imagine waking up next to that? Just like, hey, babe.
Sorry, the Manaconda is not waking up today.
No, Manaconda sleep. Manaconda in a deep medical coma. But the final 3 that it came down to at the panel before Ben ultimately gets eliminated was Keith, Kari, and Ben. And I was actually secretly hoping that it would come down to Keith and Kari, because it would be kind of funny to me to see 2 people who are, I don't know, 2 weeks into like a strange reality show romance go head to head for their quote unquote dream that they've had. But no, Kari gets saved, and so it just ends up being Keith and Ben. And Keith, despite looking a hell of a lot like Tyson Beckford if he played football first, people seem to be tired with Keith. He just like they feel like he doesn't need to try. And by they, I mean, judges Usai, Tyra. And
those weirdos who submit videos of their opinions.
That's something Facebook. Strange that I don't want to go into. Like that. No one will ever top the weird lady with the parrot who was made multiple appearances last cycle, giving her opinion about people's photos, despite having 0 sort of authority on it. But, I mean, we don't have any authority to talk about top model. But Keith. Yeah, everybody seems to be over Pretty Keith. I personally don't really think it's that big of a deal. He's a fucking male model. They kind of only really have one look. Modeling is the one time where dudes get to be more objectified than women. So he's just really like a prop. So what if he has one look and he seems one-dimensional? He does actually have a personality when you talk to him. He seems very warm and charming. And he seems also super willing to do whatever. So maybe he will get eliminated early.
And then he'll have a real career.
Exactly.
Because winning the show is the kiss of death.
Oh yeah, no, you go on to Knitwear Quarterly in your career, or those like rosacea commercials, like Carrie D.
No, it's psoriasis.
Psoriasis. Why do I always want to say rosacea? Regardless, I mean, or you could be like Shandy and just chop off your hair and dye it a different color and pretend that you never were on the show. Those seem to be your only options.
Well, she tried to make it in modeling, and then she discovered the love of karaoke in New York City, and that's all that we've heard of her.
Not before she got locked out of a bunch of agencies, apparently, because she was on Top Model, which is just an interesting thing. I mean, Top Model is kind of like Miss America, where it's like, oh, it's the biggest competition with all of these prizes and blah, 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 but also in the sense that American Idol never really pays off, and you don't really hear from a lot of these people ever again. But it's still fun to watch.
And I look forward to the rest of the season and seeing who among them will not invest their $100,000 windfall intelligently in the future.
$100,000 windfall?
Isn't that what they get?
What, just to shoot?
Yeah, no, when they win. When they win the show, they get $100,000, some contract with some company that's going to forget they ever existed, and some magazine spread that no one will remember.
Or you'll ever see. I definitely remember one of the very first cycles, probably like 3 or 4 or something. And for one reason or another, I was very into it. And whoever won that cycle, I actually went and tried to find their, 17 magazine spread and, could not find it to save my life.
I never know when that shit was going to happen. It's kind of like one of the prize is like one of those things that,
never saw any of the CoverGirl ads ever.
The magazine had to promise to put in the magazine probably at some point. So it was kind of like sitting on the back burner for 6 months. Like, oh shit, we got to put that out. Okay, fine, just put it in next month. That next issue that we're missing some pages. We could fill it up with this. That's how much importance they seem to give this treasured photo spread. Whatever magazine they happen to do it with this year.
I think it's Nylon now. But to be honest, it's like I black out the prizes. It doesn't even matter because I don't even care about these prizes.
No more Italian Vogue. They had enough already.
Italian Vogue lasted, 2 cycles? 3? Tops. Francesca,
Once
whatever.
Once they saw the product, they're like, oh dear.
Yeah. But, yeah, whatever they're competing for, it's irrelevant. It's not about that.
But who do you think has the potential now?
Well, so Ben might be gone, but not really, because in the past couple cycles, Tyra has also added, I don't know, a competition within the competition, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
For all the rejected models to keep doing the photo shoots. And then at a certain point...
Up until a certain point. But
and then it's their social media scores. I mean, how are they going to do that without Brian Boy and his iPad? But they're going to tabulate their social media scores, and that's going to determine who gets back on the show. So it's kind of like a fan favorite based on your photographs. But if you're leaving it up to your audience, I mean, how much can you really expect from their judgment? So, any rejected model actually does have the chance to come back after their elimination. So, I mean, Ben could conceivably be let back in the competition if he impresses the fans at home enough, but really, is their opinion going to help or hinder good models who are the unfortunate victims of Tyra's insanity?
Well, I mean, she's been incorporating social media for the past couple cycles, and we have yet to figure out when the voting time window is.
It's like all before the season even starts, so if you are voting, then you know who wins, basically, or who's going to be in the final 3.
Exactly, and that's why it's hard to kind of follow, like, when that time frame is. I feel like they just let people abroad or something.
I feel like it's
some
better
sort of test audience is in on it.
Yeah, let's not even, like, get into it, because it'll ruin the joy of watching every episode with some sense of mystery about who will get the axe, who will get the worst makeover. You know, like, it's best not to know before you see it with this show.
I totally agree. It completely ruins any sort of suspense this show could be even attempting. But yeah, so Ben is gone, so is his acoustic guitar, but he has the chance to win, but I don't know, or chance to come back.
I don't see
and
that
potentially
happening,
win,
though.
but I don't see it happening either. I don't think his social media score was very good. I think Keith beat him by a pretty healthy margin, whereas a lot of other people who have gone home, it's been like
a few tenths of a point, and with Keith it was like 6 points.
It was something like that. It was like pretty hefty. It was like at
Ben's
least
boom 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 was ruined by his overbooching, apparently.
Well, I mean, his Adonis diaper thing from the Spiderweb commercial photo shoot was awful. I don't ever want to see. He looked like Ben Buttons. He looked like a man baby. It was very ugly and strange, and I didn't like it at all. Freaked me out. I don't like guys. I don't like grown men in diapers. Call me weird. I don't like it.
No, that's a valid dislike, I guess. I just didn't realize that they were diapers. I thought they were just in white underwear, but...
Well, they were like, toga-style underwear, so like it was draped weirdly. It
Whatever,
looked
the
like
way
a
he
diaper.
posed, it didn't work, and that seems to be his problem in every week, so that's why I don't see him overcoming that in these other, like, sequestered photo shoot challenges for the eliminated models.
Ooh, but you know what he can add to, like, his list of quadruple threats or whatever? He's good at stilt work. Because apparently as a kid, he told us in that episode that he used to just walk on stilts all the livelong day.
Well, I hope Tyra's memory gets even shorter and she includes another stilt challenge in this season to give him a chance. But I don't really feel that passionately for his involvement in the show, unless he continues to write awful songs.
Ugh, even then, just bring back Romeo the Wicked. God, I miss him.
He can't come back. He was, like, booted off the show.
Oh yeah, no, in front of everybody by Miss J. But he did headbutt Adam, and it kind of almost maybe made me feel vaguely sympathetic towards Adam for a second. Only because he was actually handling himself appropriately due to the situation. But I'm willing to hedge some bets that he's been in that situation more often than he's been in any other situation in his life that he might encounter. So trying to calm down a drunk bro and get him to not be aggressive is just part of being the
drunk
top...
Wiccan.
It's just part of being in the top 2% of partiers in the world. So it's like his civic responsibility. Wow.
I suppose so. But nonetheless, it's still sad to know that Romeo can never come back to top model. He's gone forever.
I know. It's so sad. Wait,
But it
let's
looks
have a
like
moment of silence for Romeo. Okay. But, so, thoughts on the future, though. I think Will go far. He's feeling really confident with that new haircut. Him and Matt's relationship is blossoming, and it's beautiful. I think Lennox will do alright for a little while. I think Keith might still actually survive. I think actually Denzel might be next to go.
You think?
I don't
It
know,
seems
but
like
soon.
the girls don't seem like as obvious. Like, last cycle, it was obvious from the beginning. Like, that girl, she's gonna win. This cycle...
Who, married and divorced at 19?
Yes, her.
I was really hoping that What's-Her-Face, the underdog, who ended up going out with Starvin Marvin. I forget what her name was.
Well,
she was
she
like
lost.
a Miss Something. I know. But she was really close, and I was really hoping she was gonna pull out a win.
But no.
I know. Well, so,
She's
wait,
been on
do
the
you
wrong
have...
horse.
So you already picked your winner? You already think you know?
I don't, not yet. I have to we have to analyze the end photograph when one person is eliminated from the picture and they just sort of dissolve and disappear like they never existed before.
Yeah.
Out of the photograph. that's usually like my gauge. Depending on how you're positioned in that photograph, it's often a good clue. So I think after this next episode, we should really go over that photograph with a fine-tooth comb, as I did from the very beginning with my bestie back home. It's how we devised our very particular way of breaking down this show. She was always very good at picking the winners right away, so I'll have to consult her to see if she's got a vibe with anybody yet.
We should bring Stephanie on.
I will ask her. She is getting towards the end of her pregnancy.
Oh, yeah,
so
I keep forgetting that.
She may not be able to at this moment, but shout out, Steph. I love you.
Well, yeah, we'll have to look at that picture. I can't really tell. It's kind of anybody's game. I guess my favorites are Will, and I do actually really like Raylia. I like her Diana Ross hair. And she's got really nice long legs, which is something that, you know, a lot of girls have, like, failed to work in the past as, like, their signature. But she actually does a really good job. And I love that she told Denzel and Mariana that they were not classy while he was eating a cheese sandwich mainly comprised of some sort of liquid cheese.
Like Tostitos cheese dip.
Let me make my cheese sandwich, woman. Anyway, I like her too. I think she might do pretty well. I fear for Shy, even though she has cool hair. I feel like she's pretty forgettable and you should put a bell on her.
Yeah.
If Kari can work out having one of the worst makeovers in top model history...
It's not gonna happen.
Okay, well, she's gone for sure.
Seriously, like, her eyebrows will never be right again after this bleaching.
No, she won't even have eyebrows at the end of this.
Like,
does she still have eyebrows? Or is it just a spot where they painted it blonde? Or white? She looks like she's been badly burned, Samir. Badly burned by peroxide.
Well, hey, that's the new look in fashion, is burn victim. Unit. I guess. We'll be in the next Comme des Garçons, couture collection. It'll be all about burns.
God,
like Freddy Krueger sweaters and, like, moth-eaten felt hats and, that'll be the look.
For her sake, I really, truly hope that's true.
Oh, well. Till next week.
Yes, until next week. You can find our reviews on GAMbITMag.com. They go up every Tuesday morning, but starting October 3rd, they will be going up every Monday morning. Our podcasts, well, that schedule's a little TBD, so tune in or just check back to the website and make sure you follow GAMbIT Magazine on Twitter, and you can follow myself at Mark She Wrote. They follow you somewhere, Samir?
They can follow me at Samiraculous on Twitter. I try to use it. And on Instagram at Samiracles.
And also, please check out some of our Samir and I's joint movie reviews. What was the last thing we reviewed? Oh, we reviewed Guardians of the Galaxies. That was very pleasant.
It was.
It was a wonderful experience. But also read our thoughts on Purge, Anarchy, and we've also... I'm sure we'll have some reviews in the future going up, and Samir will be joining me for a bad movie review, which I currently do every Friday with Trevor, that you can also find on GAMbIT Mag. Alright, well, thanks for tuning in, and we will see... Well, it's not see you, is it? What do people say? What's a good sign-off?
Check you later?
No. That's... No.
No, I don't know how to sign this shit off.
Alright, well then... We're gonna go look at our iPhones. We will be doing this again next week at some point. Stay tuned.
This was GAMbIT Magazine, September 20th, 2014.